Okay, if you're just tuning in, this is Democracy and the Rule of Law on Galactic Television. Now, let's quickly go over to the topic where the federal government and Delta states are at impasse over Ibori's 4.2 million pounds loot. Now, there's no time to give us a background story. I'm sure you've been reading the newspapers. Let's go quickly to Asaba, where let me start with you. Let me have your say. What is the Delta State government? Because you work with the Delta State government. So what are the Delta State? What is the Delta State government doing? To come to some sort of an understanding with the federal government as far as this loot is concerned.
Well, the governor has not made an official statement as we speak. But the general outcry in Delta, across board, is that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. In 2007 and 2012, federal government recovered stolen funds for Bayelsa State and Plateau states. And those funds were remitted to the accounts of those states by the federal government. Now, in the issue of Chief James Ibori and his associates, the government also alleged that the funds recovered were proceeds of money taken from Delta. Now, the legal process that gave birth to that, tagging the money is another issue. But what is interesting and what the Nigerians are saying and what Deltas are saying is that so long as the British authorities and the state government, the federal government, tag that money as Delta State money, it is only fair that money should be used to develop infrastructures in Delta State and not in any other state of the Federation. To that extent, we are saying that the federal government cannot be involved in partiality or nepotism or injustice or selective justice. Because if you recover money for Bayelsa State and you gave it to Bayelsa, if you recover money from Plateau State and you give it to Plateau State, why don't you give the same money you have recovered from Delta State to Delta? Because the money that was taken in Plateau State, as at the time they were handed over the money, it was not the governor who was there at that time that was there when the federal government gave the money to them. Same applied to Bayelsa State. The Bayelsa money was linked to a former governor, and the money was recovered and given to the government under a new administration. And if Delta State fund has also come, what is it expected of us? Like Femi Falana SAN has said, and some other legal luminaries have advocated, is that it is only fair that that money should be given to Delta State government. And we as Deltas, and as aid to the governor, I do know that we are interested in that money because we have a lot of gigantic projects ongoing here in Delta State. We have secretariat building that we are about completing. We have 3 universities that we want to set up. We have various roads that we want to construct. And we have other mighty, good projects in the state that require money, either to complete or to initiate new projects. To that extent, if the federal government says that it cannot give us the card, in my opinion, what is important is that
let me have this say, what side of the divide are you on? I'm on the opinion, that the federal and state government come to some sort of an understanding, because it doesn't look like the federal government will be willing to hand over the whole of that money to Delta State.
That is not federal government's money.
Okay.
That money was taken from Delta State. And I think the proper thing is for that money to be returned, to be either returned to Delta State or to be used for projects situated within Delta State.
Okay.
But I just want to raise an issue, and that is that the projects that have been nominated by the federal government to be executed with these monies have been projects that were also earlier mentioned to be executed with the money for the returned Abacha loot. The same projects. I know that Sarah had written a letter and had confirmed that these same projects that have been nominated for this particular Delta Ibori money is the same monies. The same project that have been nominated for the Abacha loot. So the question is, what happened to the Abacha loot project monies? Were they not executed? Were they executed? So why would you double allocate? Why will you bring money from two sources to execute and to carry out
the same
number of projects? So it's there's a lot of clarification that is needed on that side. And what would happen if you say, okay, Delta State government, nominate projects in your state that will carry out these monies to do? They could even be federal projects. There are federal roads crisscrossing Delta State. There are a lot of needs in Delta State that could have been done with these monies. Federal government has their own share of the money. So I think for the purposes of fairness, for the purposes of equality, for the purposes of justice, I just feel that it's appropriate that either they return these monies to Delta State government, or they use this, they nominate, Delta State nominates projects, and these projects are situated in Delta State. That's my view.
You see, I'm a lawyer, and I'll talk strictly as a lawyer. You see, my colleagues have been using the word fair. It will be fair for the money to be returned to Delta State. Now, if Delta State had been left alone to recover this money, no money would have been recovered. Because
so you think the federal government should have their own share?
No, I'm coming. You see, when the federal government went after this money, Delta State government makes strenuous efforts to prove that nothing was missing from their coffers. Did you know that Ibori also organized, Ibori tried to bribe Ibori in a sting operation. He actually gave Ibori $15 million US. You understand? To forget about this matter. What happened? The $15 million is still with the FCCT today. No Delta has come out to demand for that $15 million. So these are serious issues. When the Nigerian government went out after this money in the UK, Delta, I heard that the Delta State government deposed an affidavit saying that no sum of money was missing from their coffers. So they should pay for this. You see, the federal government of Nigeria is superior to any state within Nigeria. That we call it the sovereign. You understand? The states in Nigeria, they are component states. So when the federal government is taking a decision for your benefit, for crying out aloud, you ought to support the federal government.
So because the Delta State.
I still want to be fair. Okay. Let me land. I still want to be fair.
Okay.
You see, the manner the Deltas are going about it as some Nigerians is that as if Delta State has a right, primary proceed to that money. You cannot have a right to what you have denied. You can't. You understand? But I recall that in 2013, the judge in England, during the confiscation trial, made a statement. He said that he will trace where this money has come from in Delta State and refund it or something like that. But I guess when they were doing that, then this clog in this thing came from the larger Delta people, that their money was not missing. We are talking about £200 million. So what is just coming in is peanuts. It's peanuts. So
just the first batch.
First batch. And this is why they are not even giving us interest. So we know people are giving us. But the thing is that at the end of the day, to be fair to the common men, common people of Delta State,
I like the word common man, the masses.
Because if this money should be returned to Delta State, we know where this money is going to go to. The same elements who claim that nothing was missing from the coffers of Delta State, they are still in power in Delta State till tomorrow. You understand? So in the interest of the common man, I think to support you, there should be an arrangement between the federal government of Nigeria. But in conclusion, the federal government of Nigeria has signed an MOU with the British government on how that money is going to be spent. You understand? So if the first tranche you share it with Delta State, I don't know how we resolve that. But let us put our house in order. We are still one Nigeria. Okay, that makes put our house in order before we go back to these Oyibo people.
That makes one of its preposition valid, where the state government can nominate federal or projects in that state. Yes. Let the federal government oversee those projects. Yes. So there won't be an allegation.
Not only federal government, with credible members of the Delta community. No, it's not as if I trust the federal government more than Delta State people. I don't. You've got to go and appoint their own people there too and mess it up.
Okay.
No, but there's also another angle. Delta State then, or you know, some officials of Delta State had said no money was missing. When there is a proposition made, and then we find out that that proposition was false, the true position overrides the false position. So if you said no money was missing from Delta State, and then the court finds out that yes, money was actually missing from Delta State because Chief James Ibori did not serve as the president of Nigeria, he did not serve as a minister. In the federation. He served only, the last place he served was as a governor of Delta State. So it is just commonsensical that really the conviction and you know of the conviction and all of that has proven that these monies were taken from Delta State.
Even when the people say there's no money.
That somebody made a proposition that was later found out to be false does not mean that he must necessarily be punished for that false proposition, because the true the conviction has shown that that proposition was false, and this one is true, that really money was missing from Delta State.
Will it be sensible to just hand over the same money to these same elements who are denied that the money was missing?
Okay,
so
let's
be careful.
Let's hear Barrister Ogenesive on that. Just quickly, as we round up, your last take on that. Let's assume you're not from Delta State, and from hearing both sides of the divide, okay, money was missing, money was not missing, what would you have done? Quickly.
As a minister in the Temple of Justice, I think the equity has it that you must be fair to all concerned. If you recover stolen funds in Bayelsa and you give it to Bayelsa, you recover funds that were missing in Plateau and you gave it to Plateau, it is also fair that if you recover any funds on behalf of Delta State government, that money should also go for projects in Delta State government. That is the only thing that is permissible.
Unlike the other states, they did not try to shield the missing money. Maybe that's where the issue is coming from Delta State.
There was no shielding. What happened was that $50 million Badu alleged to have been used as bribe. They said it came from Delta State government. And Delta State government denied that they never gave out $50 million for bribe to anybody. That was the only time that issue came up, not in any other matter. So we must get that correctly. And I think Falana explained that issue correctly when he had a program with Channel Television, that the issue of a denial was attached to $50 million bribe and not anything else.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us on Galactic Television, Barrister Ogenesive. Thank you so much for your time. Now, you were shaking your head like you did not agree with what he said.
Look, you see, I want to be fair.
One statement, because we have to go now. Okay.
The $15 million Ibori gave to Ribadu. He used the word alleged, but categorically, Ribadu said it was a sting operation. He played along with him before collecting the $15 million. If Delta State want to share from this money coming from abroad, they should also equally demand for that $15 million.
Okay.
You understand? We should be. If he spoke about justice, so he spoke about equity. I'm talking about equity for the common man on the street of Delta.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. We have to go. We have to go. Thank you so much for your time, Barrister Ayo Osho, and of course, in Nyobong Udo. Thank you so much for your time, for your insight. Thank you so much for joining us. Barrister Fred Ogenesive was talking to us from Asaba, Delta State. He's a regular on the show. Next week Sunday is another day. We do sincerely apologize. We couldn't treat the last topic because, I mean, so much to talk about. We'll be monitoring the issue, see how it goes, and of course we'll most likely treat it next week Sunday on Galactic Television, and the time is 1 o'clock. I'm Solomon Offem. Have a wonderful day.